What's going on, everybody? This is Patrick Dane. So, we're now in 2016. Seems alright, 2015's gone. With that, most of the game outlets have given out all their Game of the Years, and all the right ones went to Ori and the Blind Forest, because if they didn't, well, they're wrong, because that game was the best game of 2015. And while December was all about being reflective, and thinking about what the last 12 months had given us and what 2015 had been, we're now in January, where we get to look forwards, and think about everything that could be in 2016. It's quite hopeful, right? And while we're looking forward, that means in the games industry, E3's on the horizon, where I'll once again be in the room with the single most dreamy and magnetic business executive in the world, Spencer. And Ubisoft will probably try and make memes happen or something happen again, I don't know.
We should come up with a meme really quickly for the show. Right now, I'm pitching who kept the Christmas lights on during the apocalypse.
But that's happening all the way in June, and actually, there's a ton of really good games coming out between now and then. So, here's a list of the top 10 games to look forward to before E3 comes around. Firewatch has gained a lot of attention for the kind of game that it is. You know, it's one of those FPXs in the ilk of Gone Home, or Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, but it also seems a lot more open world than that. It seems that the environments you'll be able to explore are much more vast. It also takes on a deeply American job, which, you know, is fire watching within the woods somewhere, and it seems wrapped around a central mystery that's not been talked about too much, but has been vaguely hinted at to be the central narrative of what's going on in the woods that you're looking after. Campo Santa's a new team, but they have a great pedigree of storytellers on board, and the relationship that you're going to build with the other person on the walkie-talkie genuinely seems quite interesting. This seems like one of the most active FPXs that we've seen in a long time, and that alone colors me interested. Also, just look at that art design. Unravel's a weird proposition. The game was put on the stage at the E3 EA conference, which is very rare for a game of this size, but because of that, it really grabbed people's hearts. Setting it around the character Yarny, the Scandinavian team who are creating this game seem to have put in something quite heartfelt, which is something a lot of people might think that is missing from AAA development. Coming from a publisher like EA, it's pretty much unheard of. Platforming seems smart, puzzle solving seems clever, and hopefully the game's pretty good, because with successes like this, we could only see more in future presentations. I'm absolutely in for the adventure that Yarny's going to go on in this game, and again, the art direction looks quite phenomenal. I must admit I'm not much of a fighting game man myself, but I have always had a deep appreciation for the genre, and there's no franchise bigger in this community than Street Fighter, so a new installment of that is a big deal. While the betas up to this point have been a bit shaky performance-wise, from what I've heard, when the game's actually working, it seems to be an absolutely worthy successor to Street Fighter 4. This will be the mainstay fighting game for many years to come, I imagine, and it's set to headline many EVO competitions, I'm sure. The art style also seems to have really come along, and it's genuinely vibes. It just looks awesome. And for those who really like to get into the nitty-gritty, it seems that there's quite a few new mechanics to get your head around. For fans, and maybe even hopefully for casual players, Street Fighter V should absolutely be on people's radars. Count me in for messing around with it. Cry Primal is quite interesting. We didn't know about it until a few months ago, and it's a complete departure for the franchise. It looks like if you've ever played Ark, which is all about taming dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals. It looks like that, with a lot of Mel Gibson's Apocalypto put in there for good mix. I mean, there's no dinosaurs, it's all true to the time, as it were, in air quotes, but you know, you'll be able to tame awesome looking creatures, mammoths, your saber-tooths, your massive bears, and it looks kinda cool. Put that in the Far Cry framework, and, I don't know, this could be a really cool title. I'm all for it. I haven't quite figured out The Division yet. It's supposed to be quite a bit like Destiny, and I'll tell you, I absolutely love me some Destiny. But the game just had a beta, and that was supposed to be a little bit rocky, and the PC had a severe cheating problem, so that is cause for concern. But the idea is pretty cool. It makes this shooter MMO where you're in Manhattan after the downfall of civilization because of a virus that was spread through touching of money. Manhattan's locked in a Black Friday/Christmas freeze frame, and you just have to exist and survive and find your way within this world with the other players around you. Honestly, just personally, I don't know if having an MMO shooter that's so realistic can fascinate me as much as it did in, say, Destiny's Fantastic Worlds, but I'm more than willing to give this game a try. Ubisoft have put a lot of money in this and are clearly very confident in it, and that in turn gives me a little bit of confidence in it myself. Hitman as a franchise is in a pretty weird place. It's coming off a movie that wasn't very well regarded, and while I loved Absolution, the game certainly has its detractors. It's not entirely encouraging to hear that Square Enix is going with a quite controversial and experimental episodic release schedule for this game. But if the game is Hitman, then I'm down for it. Having a pretty open, stealthy game in environments that are completely open themselves could be an absolute winner for IO Interactive. While there's a lot of question marks that surround this game, the upsides could absolutely work. Let's just hope this game isn't done a disservice from the business model it's been chained with. Dark Souls 3 is a bit of an unknown. Hidetaka Miyazaki wasn't on Dark Souls 2, which was certainly not as well received as the classic that has now become Dark Souls, instead choosing to focus his efforts on Bloodborne. While Bloodborne only came out a year before this game set to come out, Miyazaki's back in the directing seat, and that's pleased a lot of fans, obviously. Has he had long enough to make this really truly as great as the original Dark Souls? Remains to be seen, I guess. But it's a Dark Souls game, obviously, flawless mechanics, interesting boss design, and serving an audience who is absolutely rabid. Seeing how this game turns out is going to be pretty fascinating. Uncharted 4 is easily the biggest exclusive for the PS4 that Sony has so far. The franchise is widely beloved, and it's more or less the crown jewel in the Sony crown. The game has seen multiple delays, having meant to come out last year, but this sounds like a good thing, because everything that we've heard from this game is that this is the last Uncharted game at least featuring Nathan Drake. Naughty Dog need to get this right because of everything that they've said in the press, and that leads me to think that they will bring absolutely everything to this game. This is easily the biggest game coming out early this year, and for that, people should definitely be excited. It's rare we see big conclusions to main characters that we absolutely love in video games, and Uncharted 4 is absolutely promising that. Let's just hope it delivers. While I never played the original Mirror's Edge, the enthusiasm that I've seen from fans is quite intoxicating. That's why I'm really happy EA have given it another chance with Mirror's Edge Catalyst. It was quite surprising to see it announced, but I think there is absolutely space to see it in this new generation. First-person parkour is hard, and we saw it done quite well in Dying Light last year, so hopefully they'll take some cues from that and understand things about the flow in combat that comes with parkour. It's hard to say how popular this game's going to be, and I'd like to see it definitely succeed, but that's for the market to decide. As for the critical reception, I think the game has a really good fair chance at knocking it out of the park. As I said, even though I never played the original game, seeing Faye jumping from rooftop to rooftop is still quite an exhilarating thing to watch happen. Here's hoping. Adding No Man's Sky to this list is kinda cheating. The game's set to come out in June, but I absolutely believe it will come after E3. I can't imagine with the game set to release so close to the date that it wouldn't be on the Sony stage, promoting itself at least one more time. Be that in VR form, that remains to be seen. But still, this game has everybody kinda jazzed, and absolutely could disappoint, what with promising the universe and more. And seeing as we still don't quite know exactly what we're going to be doing, and the mainstream appeal that this game's going to have, but the scientific and mathematic algorithms that are happening underneath the hood of this game make this an absolutely interesting case study that even if it was a massive failure, it would still be an incredibly interesting piece of art. I don't think that it's going to be a failure either though. I think that this game has a serious gameplay hood on it, and seeing how this is received by fans is going to be absolutely fascinating. While this game might not come out before E3, it's close enough, and it promises to be one of the biggest or most controversial and most talked about releases in the early parts of 2016. And that's your lot. I mean, 2016 is actually already looking great before you even consider these games. I mean, we've already had Oxenfree, and The Darkest Dungeon came out, and The Witness, obviously, which is amazing, and you should definitely go play it. And also, we have XCOM 2 out this week, and then, like I say, you have all those games coming after that. So 2016 is looking pretty strong, just like 2015 did. So hey, that's something to be excited about. It's Patrick Dane. See you later.